Okay, I'm just gonna make this video real quick. This is just for testers. This will not be the video that's in the pattern, but I wanted the testers to have something. This is regarding the shearing that's in the ballad pattern, one of the options. You need elastic thread. This is what I like to use. This is the Dirt's elastic thread. You can find this at Joann's, Amazon, Whack. Hobby Lobby does not have this. At least mine doesn't. I also found on Amazon a pack of colored elastic thread, which is fun. It seems to be the same quality as the Dirt's, and I found this really works. So I'm gonna show you how to wind a bobbin on my Baby Lock Catherine / Brilliant. The Brilliant is the current Catherine. It just was rebranded. So I know a lot of people wind their bobbins by hand for shearing. I have never done that. I have never needed to do that. I always use the bobbin winder on my machine, and it works really well. So I'm gonna show you how to do. So anyway, I'm gonna load up my machine, put my bobbin thread, and I'll move you so you can see what I'm doing. That would be helpful. I'm going to put my bobbin thread, not my bobbin thread, my elastic thread, load it up as if I were putting in a regular spool of thread. Okay. Now instead of like winding the thread all the way through machine as if I was sewing with it, I'm just going to do the first, like, put it through this one knob here and then take it to my bobbin winder. You don't have to do that. You can actually hold on to it. The whole purpose of putting it through something is to create tension. So the thread winds with some tension on the spool. And that's what gives you like that shearing effect, is when the bobbin thread is tight. So this is the tricky part, because sometimes it can be hard to get started because it wants to come off. So I'm just gonna start winding it, and I am just gonna like lightly hold the thread. I'm not all the way tension, I'm like 25-30% tension. Sometimes it doesn't come off the spool very easily. Come on, here we go. All right, so I'm just putting some tension on it. I'm kind of like unspooling it as I do that too, because it doesn't want to come off very easily. So I would go ahead and do at least 2 spools of elastic thread. And so it should look like that. You don't want it all messed up. You want it as similar to that as possible, okay? So then we're going to, like normal, put let me see if I can get a good angle here. Put our bobbin into the bobbin holder. And if you let go of this, it'll start to spin. That's okay. You can unspin it a little bit. Now, just do it as you normally would. And then you can rethread your machine with your regular thread, because the elastic thread only goes on the bobbin. Okay, now as far as setup for stitching, let's see if I can get you guys in a good spot. Let's see. I should just have to tell you what I'm doing. Sorry for the shakiness. Okay, so my stitch length right now is 3.5. I'm gonna start with that and see how that goes. You could also, I have had success in the past using a basting stitch, which is your longest stitch length. So just a couple of things to note is If you have a thread cutter on your machine, don't use it, because when you come to the end of a line of stitching and you use a thread cutter, in my experience, my machine cuts it too closely, and then I have to keep, redoing the bobbin. So I just, pull it out and rip it that way so I don't lose my bobbin. All right, so I'm just gonna start stitching. This is just a straight stitch. I've got the bobbin thread, the elastic thread, and the bobbin. And on the pattern piece, there was 2 triangles around the arm's eye and then the center neck. You're gonna straight stitch across that and then go every 1/4 inch or so. Oh, and I guess it would help if my needle were threaded. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay. And you can kind of, it sounds a little different, but that's fine. You want it to sound different so you know the elastic thread is working. All right, I finished my first row. So instead of using my thread cutter, I'm just gonna pull it out, leave 3 inches or so. And then you have it gathered. And the back, looks like that got caught. Looks like that. If yours is not gathering a lot, first make sure everything's threaded correctly. It won't look super gathered depending on the fabric type too. This is a very lightweight, like polyester. Heavier fabrics, it takes more for them to gather. And that's still fine, because when you hit it with a steam in the iron, when you're done, it will bring it up real nicely. So I'm just gonna continue doing my rows. Actually, I'm gonna do this in this direction. And I'm gonna use the width of from my needle to the end of my presser foot to determine how far apart I want my rows of shirring to go. And as I'm doing this, since I already have 1 row, it's kind of crinkled, I'm just gonna gently spread it out so it's a flat surface. I don't wanna sew over any rows, any fabric. And you just keep doing that until you get to the top of the arm's eye. See how that looks like that? And that's before I have even hit it with any steam, so that's great. Definitely test your machine settings out on some scrap fabric of the fabric that you intend to use, just so you know how it behaves. And I think that's all I have for tips. I think it's just playing around with your settings. Right now, I'm at a stitch length of 3.5 straight stitch. To me, the key thing to getting a good gathering effect is using the machine's bobbin winder so you can get tension on that. Some people hand wind it because they don't want tension. I don't know, that just seems like more work. And this works really well. So hopefully you guys can have success with it too. So I'm just gonna keep doing this till I get to the top. All right, here is my finished shirring. I have not hit it with the iron yet. When I do, it will gather up even more, but you can see I went straight across all the way up, and that's how it ended up. And let's see how many rows is that one. About 15 rows, and that will vary depending on size, but by not too much. And that took, that took about half a bobbin. So you should be okay with 1 bobbin, but I would do 2 just to be safe. And I just wanted to show you what happens when you hit it with some steam. See, it looks real nice. And these rows are 1/4 inch apart. So if you prefer a more spaced out look, you can totally do that. And this is what the back looks like. See, the bobbin thread is fairly straight. And that's it. And yeah, this looks pretty messy like around here, but this is all gonna be caught in the seam, so we don't have to worry about doing anything with the ends of the elastic.